At the very onset, I would like to welcome you all for today's class, which is mainly dealing with the evaluation of a disinfectant. Now, before I begin the class of today, let me have a little bit discussion of what we studied in our previous class, so that it will be helpful for you to correlate with our study today. Now, in the previous classes, we have studied about what sterilization was. It was a process by which we remove or kill the microorganisms. And in that particular context, we have discussed with two important terminologies which were very confusing to our students. One was the disinfectant and other one was antiseptic. Disinfectant, the term which was commonly used to apply for those substances which are mainly applied on the non-living cells. On the other hand, antiseptics basically are those substances which are mainly applied on the living objects. Now, as because these disinfectants, they are widely used in the hospitals, they are widely used in the pharmaceutical industries to clean the production area. In hospitals, they are applied to maintain an environment which is germ free. We have to be very cautious whenever we are evaluating the potency of a disinfectant. And whenever we are evaluating the potency of the disinfectants, there were two methods mainly which we follow. One was the Riedel-Wacker test and the second one was the Chick-Martin test, which we will be studying today. Now, the Riedel-Wacker test which we studied in our last class was very instrumental in evaluating the potency of a disinfectant, because quantitatively it gives you an idea of a coefficient which we are calling as phenol coefficient, which tells you or which evaluates the inhibitory power of the disinfectant. And there also we compare with that of a standard substance which we commonly use, that is called phenol. We evaluate the disinfectant in comparison with phenol. But there were two major lacuna which we observed whenever we were studying the Riedel-Wacker coefficient. That is, the first one was, there are many situations where the presence of organic matter has been found to have an adverse effect on the quality of the disinfectant. But in the Riedel-Wacker test, whenever we have studied, we have not added any organic matter. We have not added any organic matter. So, even if your disinfectant which you are evaluating, that is showing a very good value in case of Riedel-Wacker coefficient test, may not be actually that efficient when applied in the actual reality. The reason behind this is, in your environment there are presence of organic matter, and these organic matters are found to adversely affect the inhibitory property of the disinfectant, and we did not add any organic matter during our evaluation procedure when we did for Riedel-Wacker or phenol coefficient test. And this we overcome whenever we are doing this current test which we are studying today, that is called Chick-Martin test. That is, we are deliberately, intentionally, we are adding yeast suspension as an organic matter in the test substance or disinfectant before we are carrying out the test. And in the previous phenol coefficient test, there were 3 time intervals. One was 5 minutes, 10 minutes and 15 minutes. And we took those or that particular dilution which was killing the microorganisms in a period of 10 minutes, but not in a period of 5 minutes. Now, we have seen in various cases of actual reality that that was a very short time period for the disinfectant to act upon, and that is the reason why in the case of Chick-Martin test we are taking the time for subculture after a period of 30 minutes. That is, the organism was in contact with varying dilution of the disinfectant for a period of 30 minutes. We adopt the same procedure, that is, the organism will be in contact with the phenol also, which is a standard, for a period of 30 minutes. So, instead of keeping their 3 intervals 5, 10 and 15, here we are making the time for subculturing for a period of 30 minutes. Apart from this, let me give you an idea about a broad comparison of the Riedel-Wacker test and the Chick-Martin test which we are doing. In the Riedel-Wacker test, we have seen that the volume of the disinfectant were kept for a period, the volume of the disinfectant was kept 5 ml. But here in Chick-Martin test, we keep the volume to be as 10 ml. That is, we are changing the volume of the media. In Riedel-Wacker test, the diluent which we use to prepare the disinfectant solution was nothing but sterilized distilled water, that is, sterilized or sterile distilled water. But in Chick-Martin test, here we make a major modification, where instead of distilled water we add yeast also to it. The purpose of addition of yeast, I have already told you that the purpose is it acts as a source of organic matter, and we are evaluating the capacity, the inhibitory potency of the sample disinfectant as well as the standard phenol in presence of yeast. Moment you are evaluating in presence of yeast, therefore, automatically if a particular disinfectant is showing less effectivity in presence of organic matter, it will easily be known by this particular test, which was unknown in case of Riedel-Wacker test, where we did not add or we did not consider the presence of organic matter. That is, the presence of organic matter while evaluating the capacity of the disinfectant has made this particular Chick-Martin test much more lucrative, much more realistic, much more attractive. Now, in the previous one, in the Riedel-Wacker test, we have taken the sample time to be as 5, 10 and 15 minutes, both in standard as well as in the sample. Here in Chick-Martin test, we are keeping the contact time of the disinfectant and the microorganism fixed at 30 minutes. That is, we are keeping the microorganisms in contact with the disinfectant for a period of 30 minutes. Then, in case of Riedel-Walker coefficient, it was defined as the dilution of the test sample which was killing the microorganisms in a period of 10 minutes divided by the dilution of the phenol killing the same microorganism in a period of 10 minutes, but not in 5 minutes. That is, we were estimating, we were measuring the inhibitory capacity of that particular disinfectant as well as phenol by keeping the contact duration to be as 10 minutes and not in 5 minutes. On the other hand, in Cheek-Martin test, we measure the coefficient as the mean concentration of phenol showing no growth after 30 minutes divided by the mean concentration of the sample disinfectant showing no growth after 30 minutes. Here also we are estimating the inhibitory capacity of the sample with respect to phenol. This is as far we discussed about the way by which we have to measure the efficacy of a disinfectant. So, disinfectant in a nutshell were evaluated either by any one of the two methods, Riedel-Walker test or by Cheek-Martin test. Riedel-Walker test, we kept the contact time to be 5, 10 and 15 minutes, whereas in case of Cheek-Martin test, we kept the contact time for a period of 30 minutes. Now, there are various chemicals which we need to evaluate for its antimicrobial efficacy. Antimicrobial efficacy, if we are talking in terms of bacteria, it may be a bacteriostatic or it may be a bactericidal agent. Now, as we know that due to the rampant use of chemicals as antibiotic, the entire globe is facing the problem of drug resistance. That is, the antibiotics of yesterday is not in a position to control the microorganisms of today. The reason behind, there are large number of factors. One is the illiteracy. We take the medicines from the chemist, we take antibiotics from chemist. 2 or 3 doses of the antibiotics, they may be sufficient to reduce the discomfort which we face, and moment we are facing a little bit better, moment we are feeling a little bit comfortable, we stop taking that medicine. Medicine, I am mainly talking of antibiotics or antimicrobial agents. Now, moment you stop taking the medicine, that particular drug is developing a sort of a resistance against the microorganism which is infected in your body. We have seen that these organisms sometimes in presence of these chemicals stopped randomly or stopped abruptly, the organism develops what we are calling as mutation. Mutation is nothing but a change in the chromosomal sequence due to which the bacteria develops resistance. In fact, that is the reason why the scientists across the globe, the various pharmaceutical organizations, they are exploring all sorts of alternative way to control the infections. sometimes they are using the natural products, sometimes they are synthesizing newer molecules, sometimes the older molecules which are used for some other therapeutic purpose, they are tested for their efficacy against microorganisms, which we are calling as non-antibiotics. Say for example, promethazine, promazine, they are drugs which we earlier never used for controlling microbial diseases. They were used for some other therapeutic reasons. But to control the infections, scientists were forced, researchers were trying day and night to see whether those compounds are having at all any efficacy against the microbes. But this poses a very small sector. The major area is the scientists are trying to screen thousands and thousands of compounds from synthetic as well as natural source, and they are trying to generate, develop, identify those molecules which are having bacteriostatic or bactericidal actions. And we have 3 different tests which we are calling as filter paper test, tube dilution method, and the third one preservative efficacy test. Now, in filter paper method, what we do is we have to prepare sterile nutrient agar plates, that is, nutrient agar has to be sterilized, the filter petri dish has to be sterile, and then aseptically in front of the HEPA filter you have to add it into the sterilized petri dish to prepare what we are calling as nutrient agar plates. Now, these nutrient agar plates we are flooding with microorganisms. Moment you are flooding this with microorganisms, the organism try to soak on the nutrient agar. Then we have to take filter paper discs, and these discs we are soaking in varying concentration of the disinfectant and then putting it on the surface of the sterilized nutrient agar medium. And whenever we are putting it on the surface of the sterile nutrient agar medium, if that particular filter paper was soaked with the disinfectant at a concentration in which it has the capacity to show inhibitory property, there will be a zone of inhibition. That is, what we do is we are taking a large number of petri dishes, flood each of them with microorganisms, and we are taking varying dilution of the chemical solutions, and we are dipping the filter papers in that particular solution, putting it across in all the petri dish containing nutrient agar. And whenever we are adding the petri dish soaked with varying concentration of the disinfectant or any chemical as such, in certain situation there will be a zone of inhibition, in certain situation there will be no zone of inhibition. If that chemical substance is not having any inhibitory capacity, obviously there will be a no zone of inhibition, because the zone of inhibition has not been formed by the microorganism was not inhibited. That is the reason why there was no zone of inhibition. You will find that at a particular concentration, suddenly the zone of inhibition starts, and that concentration from which the zone of inhibition just start is known as MIC. That is known as MIC. MIC is nothing but minimum inhibitory concentration. That is the minimum concentration at which the compound is effective, the compound is active in preventing the growth of the microorganism. Therefore, by observing that whether there is a presence of zone of inhibition or not, we will be in a position to tell whether the compound is having any antimicrobial property or not. Now, let us look at this particular picture. You will find that against a filter paper disc which was soaked in chlorine, there is a larger zone of inhibition, whereas in a filter paper disc which is soaked with O-phenyl phenol, the filter paper disc, the zone of inhibition is smaller. Now, the smaller zone of inhibition means it is having lesser antimicrobial efficacy as compared to that of chlorine. Now, if we look at the second one, you will find that in case of hexachlorophene, around the disc there is no zone of inhibition produced. Now, no zone of inhibition around the disc means that this particular filter paper disc was soaked in a disinfectant which was not active against that corresponding microorganism. You see that in this one, the organism taken was Staphylococcus aureus, which is an example of gram positive bacteria. In case of the middle filter dish, we have flooded it with a gram negative culture of Escherichia coli. That means this hexachlorophene was effective when gram Staphylococcus aureus was the infective organism. Unfortunately, it was not effective when the culture was E. coli or any gram negative as such. That is, particularly against E. coli, the hexachlorophene does not have any antimicrobial action. And the third one, the third petri dish which is here, it shows that there is no zone of inhibition has been formed against hexachlorophene, O-phenyl phenol as well as squat. Why? Because this plate was flooded with another microorganism which we are calling as Pseudomonas aeruginosa. It was another microorganism belonging to the gram negative culture. It indicates that one particular chemical may be active against one microorganism, but that same chemical at that same concentration may not be active against other microorganism. Another thing which is need to be noted by all of us, say for example, a particular drug is active at a particular concentration against a particular microorganism, but the same microorganism may be resistant to another chemical belonging to that same category at that particular concentration. So, the concentration, the activity of the chemicals is highly specific in terms of the microbes as well as in terms of the chemical selected. That is, from one chemical to the other, the spectrum varies. One chemical substance may be active against gram positive, absolutely inactive against gram negative. Similarly, another chemical may be there which is very active against gram negative, absolutely no action against gram positive. And the concentration in which the zone of inhibition just begins to appear or the zone of inhibition just start is known as minimum inhibitory concentration. And as we move up, as we increase the concentration, it will come to a particular concentration in which it will show the killing capacity, that is bactericidal effect. and the concentration in which the bactericidal effect just begins to appear, just begins to start, we are calling it as minimum bactericidal concentration. The next method is called tube dilution method. The name easily indicates that you will have to prepare a series of dilution of test tubes in a liquid media. In the filter this method, we used a solid media which was nothing but your agar. Here we have to use a liquid media. Here we have to use a liquid media. So, liquid water soluble substances or the chemical which we want to test is diluted in a varying in any particular solvent, and it is dispensed in sterile test tubes. That is, you have to prepare a series of varying concentration of the disinfectant or any chemical for which you want to estimate or measure the inhibitory capacity. To all the test tubes, you need to add a measured amount of microorganisms, the organism against which you want to evaluate the efficacy of the compound. Say for example, you want to measure the efficacy of the compound against Staphylococcus aureus. So, you have to add required amount of Staphylococcus aureus, say 0.5 ml of an overnight grown culture to all the test tubes. You want to measure against E. coli. So, you have to add an overnight grown culture of E. coli to all the test tubes. And then these test tubes has to be incubated in an incubator. For bacteria, the temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. For fungi, the temperature is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. Therefore, you have to keep this in an incubator and determine or note down at which particular concentration the process of inhibition just begins. You have to note down the concentration in which the process of inhibition just begins. And similarly, as we have done it in the previous method, minimum inhibitory concentration will be that particular concentration, will be that minimum concentration which will be in a position to prevent the growth of the microorganism. That is, MIC, minimum inhibitory concentration, will be that particular concentration which will be sufficient enough, which will be active enough to prevent the growth of the bacteria. Now, we are moving on to how to evaluate the preservative in food and pharmaceuticals. The preservatives, they are added in food, carbohydrate, protein, they try to grow. So, we need to preserve them because we are commonly adding in pharmaceutical preparation. Preservative should be able to kill the microorganism rapidly, non-irritating, it should be stable, be selective, and should not react with the ingredients used in the food preparation. What we do is, in a final preparation is inoculated with microorganisms, and then sample of the preparation is taken out at varying intervals of time. That is, we have to add the bacteria deliberately into the substance which we want to preserve with the preservative, that is the pharmaceutical preparation with the preservative. To that you add the microorganisms, and at varying interval of time you measure the viable count. Viable count means the number of organisms remaining over a period of time. If the viable count shows that the number of organisms is gradually decreasing, it means it is bactericidal in nature. If the number of organisms is remaining the same, that is, there is no decrease in the number of organisms, we are calling is bacterostatic, because static means cidal means diminishing, static means remain stationary. Therefore, estimation of viable count during the period of incubation will give you an idea whether preservative is bactericidal in nature. Therefore, the chemical agents are incorporated in agar media or broth which is incubated to test organism and incubated. We measure the viable count of the microorganism in presence of the chemical. If there is a decrease in the microorganisms, we are calling it to be as a bactericidal agent. If there is no change in the growth of the colony, we are calling it as a bacteriostatic agent. With this, I am coming to the end of my class today. Thank you very much.